I'm not gonna lie to you. I have been, I'm not gonna say considering summoning for Golden Week, but the Majin Buu Saga team, specifically the extreme class side, with all the healing and defensive stacking and not being able to die here and there, it seems extremely tempting to play and summon for the Int Buu, and I really want the extreme tech evil Buu. So here's my plan. All right, I'm gonna share with you this concept, but if Kid Buu arrives for part 2 of Golden Week, and he is by far and away the best character to release, undisputed, it's hard to say I'll summon. But if he really does, like, if he's just far and away, undisputed, the number 1 character in the game, and he does mesh extremely well, those are my 2 criteria. Well, actually 3. Has to be Elder Kid Buu, has to mesh really good with the team, and he is by far undisputed the number 1 team in the game, number 1 unit in the game. I will, I'll summon. I won't go too deep, but I might throw a stone, or just a stone or 2. And the concept I built here, this is basically what has to look like. Okay, this is what Majin Buu or Kid Buu technically has to look like for me to go ahead and summon. Now I'm gonna, do this sequentially for you. We're first gonna look at the leader skill, and then the passive skill, and then of course the active and super attack effects. We're gonna just go one at a time here. Now I put 200% here. I mentioned that I don't think Kid Buu will be a Carnival LR, but a man can hope. A man can dream. So frick what's realistic, because we know the concept I'm going to share with you today most likely isn't going to actually happen. So let me have some fun, all right? Relax. Majin Buu Saga category P3 and 200%. If he's a Carnival LR with this lead, it's going to be very, very, very fun. Let's just put it like that. He could also have other transformations and whatnot, but it is what it is. Not transformation, sorry. He could also lead other categories. That's what I meant to say. But I think that's just the best one for him. Now, this whole LR Kid Buu was by Panned Star. This was updated, basically loaded up and created a while ago. I just went in and temporarily, if I refresh the page now, all this will go away. I just temporarily changed some of the information here. So this is basically what I want for the leader skill. Let's take a look at what I want for the passive skill. Now follow along here, okay? Follow along, because this character is actually very, very, very strong. I made him very, very, very strong. I don't know if he'd be considered number 1 in the game. You'd let me know. Maybe I'm underselling it. Maybe I'm overselling it. Just let me know. Let me know what you think, okay? So here's what he does. Recovers 9% HP at the start of turn. Just let me know. Rate it out of 10 if you'd like. Recovers 9% HP at the start of turn. And when HP is 60% or below when entering the turn, recovers an additional 9% HP and guards all attacks for the rest of the turn. So that is an unlimited thing. Every time you enter the turn under 60% HP, he will then be guarding for that turn, and he'll recover an additional 9. So basically 18% healing, as well as guarding for the rest of the turn. Only when you enter the turn under 60% HP. So he can guard, but it is HP conditional. He gets Ki +1 and 90% of stats start of turn. There's a reason why it's very low, okay? Attack plus 60% when performing a super attack, plus an additional attack plus 60% when it's an ultra super attack. Reduces damage received by 10%. So this is basically his base kit right here, right? Obviously there's more to obviously show, but 10% damage reduction, 60% on super when it's 12, and then another instance of that when it's 18 Ki, and then 90% of stats. So far, definitely not impressive at all, okay? He gets Ki +1 up to 3, reduces damage received by 10% up to 30, and attack and defense plus 30% up to 90 with each attack received. This is, of course, a permanent buff. Once you get hit 3 times, these buffs will be applied to Kid Buu forever, which means after you get hit 3 times, Kid Buu will have 4 Ki, 180% to stats, 40% to damage reduction, while getting attack plus 60% on 12, and then another instance of that on 18 Ki. Just this alone is going to have Kid Buu looking actually pretty solid defensively, as well as hitting relatively hard. Nothing crazy. Again, do not underestimate these 2 buffs when you're talking about an LR with LR stats. It's very, 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 very troublesome. But we're not done. plus an additional key +1 up to 3, reduces damage received by 10% up to 30, and attack and defense plus 30% up to 90% within the same turn with each attack received. So basically, if you get hit three times within a turn, you are basically getting all of this. The difference is that half of this applies forever, and the other half of this applies only within the turn. So if you get hit 3 times within the turn, you are literally getting, in total, 7 key, 270% to stats, 70% damage reduction, 60% attack on 12, and then another instance of 60% to attack on 18 key, while recovering 18% HP, or 9% minimum, and having the potential to guard. So you get hit 3 times in the turn, and this Kid Buu instantly skyrockets in both offensive and defensive prowess, alright? You touch this guy, and he gets pissed off, and it's over for you. It's basically how this works, but we're not done. He nullifies a super attack directed at this character, and all attacks become critical hit for the rest of the turn when HP is 70% or above, but that's a once-only thing. So if you put this guy in slot 1, it doesn't matter what super attack it is. If your HP is 70% or above, he will guaranteed nullify that, and the rest of his attacks will be, guaranteed to be crits for the rest of the turn. I just realized that I forgot to give him an ability here that read something like performs 2 additional attacks, each of which have a medium chance of becoming a super. I actually wanted to really include that. Medium chance, of course, is not that great, but it would have really made this ability here a lot stronger with the guaranteed crits, right? Having those additional attacks. So that definitely does make a difference. I forgot to add it, but it is what it is. And then he nullifies a super attack directed at this character and recovers 30% HP when HP 70% or below, once only. So while this says once only, you can actually get basically each of these, because 1 is when HP is 70% or above, and 1 is when HP is 70% or below, and the effects change. So if you enter the turn below 70% HP, what happens is that no matter if he gets hit with a super attack, you are basically going to be able to nullify it completely, no matter what it is, and you're going to be able to recover 30% HP from that. And then 7 turns down the line, if you get hit with another super attack and your HP is above 70%, then he's going to again guarantee nullify that super attack, and for the rest of the turn, all his attacks will become a guaranteed critical hit. So that is what I built for this Kid Buu. I also remember that I forgot to add something for the active skill, so I guess it is what it is. I'll add it. I was so in a rush to make this, to basically record this video, that I forgot those 2 passive lines. So again, one of the ones that I wanted to add was, again, performs 2 additional attacks, each of which have a medium chance of becoming a super attack. So judge this character as if he had that effect right there, okay? Because again, it really does add to this ability right here. And then let's take a look at the super attack and other stuff. So super attack, 12 key, greatly raises defense for 1 turn. 18 key, greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn. So this is going to allow him to be good defensively no matter what. And then this extra, offensive power. When you have the 50% on top of the 60, on top of the 60, on top of getting hit 3 times, this guy's an actual demon, right? And then for the active skill, what I forgot to add here was basically performs crits for the rest of the turn. But he recovers 30% HP for his active skill. Character intercepts and nullifies all enemy attacks. So basically the Gogeta Blue effect, right? The all targeting effect, including super attacks for 1 turn. And then all attacks become critical hits is what I forgot to add here. That is basically my LR Kid Buu concept. Now, again, all attacks become crits is kind of worthless if he can't perform additionals in his passive. I recognize that. That's why I wanted to add the part into his passive. So forgive me for that. But what do you think about the concept? I mean, would this be considered the best Kid Buu in the game? The reason why I think he's very strong, but he's not OP, is because the guard is not unconditional. If he doesn't get hit 3 times, basically in a turn, he's not building up his entire damage reduction, which means he's not going to be the best defensively, and he's losing out on quite a bit of attack and defense. So while I do think that fully built up, this Kid Buu could be actually literally insane with all the healing and the nullification. Like, his defense isn't the craziest thing, but in a turn where, let's say, turn 1, right? Like, I feel like he has a lot of defensive utilities that can help you in case you don't get hit. If you don't, let's say you don't get hit 3 times, but you enter the turn under 60%, you're guarding. So it's okay, right? Also, let's say you enter the turn over 60% HP and you don't get hit 3 times. Well, you still have basically 2 nullifications that are guaranteed to happen. This Kid Buu has, when he, no matter, literally as soon as he enters the turn, no matter what he gets hit with, he's going to nullify that super attack. What determines what happens is basically your HP threshold, right? And once one of these activates, it will not activate again. So basically, if you think an enemy is going to super attack in a specific spot and you're under a certain amount of HP, you're going to want to put Kid Buu in that slot because he will guaranteed nullify that. Now, again, this is definitely an attempt at creating a mechanic I've never seen before in the game. Of course, characters can nullify, but I've never seen a nullification that's like guaranteed like this for any and all super attacks depending on your HP, and it's being once only. So let me know, is this too OP? Is it not too OP because it's only once only? I like the fact that I gave him guard, but it's kind of, you know, HP conditional, especially since you're recovering so much HP. And I feel like if this would maybe be able to be used twice, but like a few turns apart, could also be extremely strong as well. So let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and LR Kid Buu for life, baby. LR Kid Buu for life.